guys, welcome to Podcast Fandom Premium. I'm your host, Nina.
And I'm Donald.
And we are back to discuss a brand new show to us, for the podcast anyway, Ted Lasso. We're going to be talking about our thoughts on the series overall, and then talking about the events of the Season 3, Episode 1 premiere. We wanted to cover the show in Season 2, and the decision came about after Season 2 had been airing for a few weeks, and I hadn't seen any of it, but it was just a show that people would not shut up about. And when I did my, not last year, but the year before, a little staycation back when we lived in Oregon, I stayed at this hotel for a week. One of the shows that I got to finally watch and binge was Ted Lasso, and fell in love with it. But we just could not make it work in terms of, it's hard to catch up on a show that everybody else has already watched and talked about ad nauseum. So, we wanted to do a kind of Season 2 overview before Season 3 began. And then, we had some family stuff. And so it made no sense for us to try to carve out time to talk about a season that aired like 2 years ago when the third season was already here. So this is our first time sitting down talking about Ted Lasso. Donnie.
Yes.
You had watched the show before I did, and had been pretty vocal about how good it is, like everybody else.
Yeah.
Just what are your overall thoughts and feelings on the show going into this third season?
It's one of those shows that make you happy. Mm-hmm. It's just a really good. It's excellent writing. Like, it's a simple story if you think about it, like some of these episodes, but it's just the writing is so good, mm-hmm. and the acting is so good that it's not like a typical show. Every episode, for the most part, it will make you cry, make you laugh. They put you throw all these different emotions at you, and they just kind of tie it all up at the end. And that's all the writing. I think the writers are just doing a fantastic job on the show.
I'm so disappointed because no, wait, I know where it is. Hold on, I think I can find it. I'm sorry, I'm gonna look while I'm talking. What I'm surprised about, honestly, is what I had heard before I watched it was a lot of what you just said, but mostly like how it feels good, right? Like, not just that it's a good show that people enjoy watching, but that it makes people feel good. And so I wasn't really interested because I like dark stuff, But again, everybody kept talking about it, and you're right. Like, I got what everybody was saying. It does make you feel good. But because of that, I think I was and continue to be a bit surprised or taken aback when it gets a bit dark. And it doesn't get dark in the sense of like, again, like what I usually watch, the stuff I usually like serial killer type stuff. But because it deals so much with mental illness, which I hadn't expected, again, just hearing everyone talk about this feel-good show, of course, depression and anxiety and stuff causes you to go to dark places. So you see how that is played out in the behaviors of people like Nate and, oh my God, I had the person's name, and then, what's his name? Jamie, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you had these characters who had flaws, or even Roy in the beginning, right? And they still have their ways about them. Obviously, Nate isn't interested in changing, but you see throughout the course of the series the way their relationships with other people and just being able to communicate healthily with other people has helped characters like Jamie and Roy. But there are times when I'm like, fuck him up, and then I realize it's not that type of show. Like I just keep waiting for somebody to beat Nate's ass, and then I'm like, oh, but it's not that type of show. So yeah, definitely got all that. But again, I was surprised. I didn't expect it to go the places it went. So like in season 2, we learned that Ted's father committed suicide.
Right.
And he found him, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And Ted has like a panic attack in one episode, and you learn then that he has, you know, these issues. One thing I am going to do is read the feedback that we got when we were going to do this a year ago. Okay? So, because people took the time to leave this feedback, so I want to... What are you laughing at?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So it's more just like, again, because what I thought I knew we weren't going to be able to cover it every week because season 2 had already aired or had been airing. And so I believe I just asked people to give like their overall thoughts. So it's not like a bunch of emails from a bunch of people. It's like 4 or 5 emails. Okay. Are you ready?
Yep.
And then we'll talk about season 3, episode 1. Okay. So Jillian says, F Nate, listen. I hate him so much. I hate him. And I feel like this is the type of show where they're going to redeem him.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you thought they were going to redeem him or if they're going to redeem him this season.
Fuck that, though. Like, fuck that. I hope they don't, because fuck him. But they probably will. But still, fuck him. But anyway, okay. But did anyone else notice him getting super gray this season? Okay, so listen. Donnie said when we started episode 3, I was like...
You mean season 3?
Yes, sorry. Season 3. I was like, why... Dog, you better get out of here. I was like, why is his hair so gray? And you were like, you could see it happening gradually.
In season
2. And just for the record, I just finished season 2 the other day. Like, that's how crazy life got. I didn't get to finish it until season 3 had already dropped. So yes. One assumes to show the progressive physical toll of his stress anxiety level. Good call. I was wondering since last season if that was authentic to the actor or makeup for the character. I applaud the level of detail by the show if it's just makeup. Stress is for real physically taxing, whether it's self-imposed or not. True. Also, F Rupert. But that's Giles. For all the reasons, including him turning Nate into a weapon. That gremlin is textbook, and it's disgusting. I dearly hope his new Christine jumps his raggedy ass. Rebecca was slaying this whole season. That's it. That's the tweet. Okay, can we talk about how fucking statuesque this woman is? She's just all body.
Yes.
You know what I mean? She's just body. Like when you talk about like Megan Thee Stallion, body. Some certain women, they're just body. That's it. They're just head to toe woman. This is one. She is built like a brick shit house. And I mean, again, this is the first time we're talking about it, like with you guys, but you know, we've had these discussions. We're aware of everything. The actress whose name I'm totally going to fuck up, so I'm just going to pull it up, is, I first saw her in, and I think most people probably, Game of Thrones. Hannah Waddingham. She was Sister Unella, I think her name was.
She was the shame.
The shame.
Yeah.
Septa Unella, not sister. That would be a nun. Septa, who was ringing the shame bell when Cersei was being paraded naked through King's Landing. Okay. Anyway, Jillian says the evolving relationships throughout the rest of the characters.
She's the same age as you.
I don't know what to do with that information.
I'm just saying.
I don't know. Hold on. Am I offended? Let's see. Am I intimidated? Like, how do I feel about that? I don't know how I feel about that. Does she look older than me? No.
No, I mean she's a white woman, so.
Oh my God, you're telling me I look my age. Holy shit, now I'm offended.
You don't look your age.
Fuck you.
She looks much older than you.
You're such a fucking liar. Whatever.
She does.
I don't care. Whatever. I don't care. Whatever. I'm lucky to be here. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, this is Jillian again. The evolving relationships throughout the rest of the characters was so well done, but I do have a sinking feeling that the Roy and teacher situation still has some mileage left in it. Okay, so let's talk about that. So in season 2, there was this weird thing at the end of the season where Nate kissed Keeley.
Yes.
And at the same time, Roy was having a somewhat flirtatious, but I don't know. I feel like that's a bit much to call it flirtatious, like as it was happening, conversation with his niece's teacher. And later she confesses what Nate did, and he says that when the teacher asked if he was married, he said no. But he also didn't offer up that he has a girlfriend. He just said no.
Right.
And it's like, what does that mean? And that's just kind of how the season ended for the two of them.
But
right?
But he wasn't mad about the Nate thing, but he was pissed off that Jamie had told.
But then he forgave Jamie too.
Yes,
because Jamie came to him.
Angry. He was
yes,
angry,
but he forgave Jamie because Jamie came to him and used his words and apologized. Remember?
Right. But he wasn't angry at Nate, and that's what set Nate off.
Because nobody takes Nate seriously. If this was America, he would have shot up someplace by now.
And that's you talked about the depression and stuff like that, and mental issues, and his is definitely the biggest mental issue, because it goes all the way back to when his father and his mother came to visit and the way his father treated him.
Yes.
Even in this episode, they show again, and then so because of how his father treats him, he turned to Ted as his father, and then he doesn't like the way Ted treated him. So he's got daddy issues.
And Ted didn't treat him poorly, though.
No, he didn't. But he wants this kind of recognition, fatherly love or whatever, but he's not getting it. So now I think he's going to turn. That's probably what he's turning to Rupert for. Is he? And
Daddy just got him a new car.
Right. So I'm just curious. Something's going to happen there that's going to even fuck it up again, and so.
The budding bro-ship with Roy and Jamie is beautiful, though. I have to say that's one of the things I love about the show, again, is that it's just not what I expected, and it continues to be not what I expect in how conflict is resolved, how relationships have blossomed, who's allowed to have relationships with each other on the show. Like, it's just different than, I can't even say than a lot of stuff on TV, because, I don't know a lot of stuff on TV anymore, but definitely from things that I'm currently watching in a good, refreshing way. And stuff like that, the budding relationships, the growing relationships between characters that on lesser shows would be predictable and stereotypical. You know what I mean? Like Roy and Jamie would stay enemies, if that makes sense.
Right.
She says the rich dude tantrum was pure hilarity. Who was the rich dude tantrum at the end of season 2? Would that be, what's his face?
It's gotta be Rupert.
Gotta be Rupert, right? Yeah. Right. For me, a third season will probably be enough. Is this the last season?
They haven't decided anything.
I thought they did. Similar to The Good Place, I want them to keep the episodes potent and not drag out the story over endless extra seasons and lose their character growth, just because they're so much fun to watch. Yeah, I think talking about the season premiere, one of the things that Ted is wrestling with is why am I still here? And because I was under the impression that this is the final season, when he was talking to his son about winning it all, I was like, I would be totally okay with, if this is the final season, them winning the championship this season. Like, be as sappy and hokey as you want. Does that make sense? Like, yeah, that's great. Have them go, you know, we start the season, the TV season and the rugby season with, or football, with them, nobody thinking they're going to win, that they're even going to place, that they're going to come in last place. Right. And end the season with, on the highest of high. Like, the show is still on top, you know, because they just won a few Emmys, right? I know Hannah won. I think Ted won. I don't remember if the show won. Not this past Emmy, but last year. Not the Emmys that just aired a few weeks ago, but 2021. They won awards for the second season. What's his name? Brett Goldstein, or I think his name is. He won. So, you know, go out on top, but have the fictional team go out on top as well. I'd be okay with that. Okay, so the next feedback is from Jamel. It is short and sweet. My girl says, fuck Nate in perpetuity. And then she said, I want this show to go on for 20 seasons. Okay, same. I know what I just said, but... Okay, Manira says, hey guys, maybe, if not, hi Nina by herself. Nate gotta die, right? No, I know the show is not that kind of show. Listen. I'm dying that we are literally same page. When I'm watching this, I'm like, kill him. And then I'm like, but it's not that type of show. But a bike accident, something. I do applaud the show for slowly showing Nate's progression into the person we see before us. Can he be saved? Probably, because I feel like that's this kind of show. Will it be a happy ending for him? No, I don't think so. What'll it probably end up happening is that he'll become a better person and like atone for like his shitty behavior and try to like get that with his dad, if that makes sense. And he'll probably realize that his dad is like beyond help. Like, right. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the luck that you got. You got a dad who's kind of shitty when it comes to stuff like that. But that doesn't mean that you then have to continue being a shitty person, you know, because of that. Anyway, Keely and Roy make me so nervous. They didn't do all that growth on Roy's character for him to just settle with sly, smiling teacher. Oh, do you have a wife? Girl, you know he has a girlfriend. It's in the rags, and she's been to Phoebe's games. That's so fucking true. I forgot about that. The teacher knew that he had a girlfriend. I don't like her, but I'm sure she's a lovely teacher. The friendship that Ted and Dr. Sharon had and the need for more black therapists to be seen on screen really filled my heart. I love that over everything else, she was great at her job, but she did take a little something from Ted with her. Yeah, and I like the fact that she getting it in, apparently, in season 3.
I just like that they're still talking, like
and they're friendly.
There, right.
Yeah.
That she's still being his psychiatrist.
Am I the only one that thought the relationship between Rebecca and Sam would have more consequences than it did? Good question, because I had, even though I just finished the season the other day, I was watching this premiere and forgot that they were even together until almost the end of the episode. And I couldn't remember how that ended. And I was like, oh, they just broke up.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like it, though. Again, because it feels like this show doesn't do what I expect it to do. And it's still good. So, like, I thought it would be more, but there's still time for it to be more. But I'm also okay if it was just what it was, if that makes sense. You know, like, good for her, good for him. Like, if it doesn't need to be like a thing. Like, I don't want them to do something where like someone finds out and there's like racism and all, you know what I mean? Like, I'm okay if this is all it was, but I'm okay if we get more too. Finally, she says, overall, another great season, and I can't wait to see how they end this. Okay. Classic R&B lover. Hello, Nina and Donnie, and anyone else joining in podcasting one of my favorite shows. Okay, listen, girl, I'm trying to get John. I'm going to message him right now. Hold on a second. I have been asking this man to watch this show. Recording right now, John. And the people want to know when the fuck you gonna watch You Toy Gonna Eat. Hold on, that's a typo. The fuck you gonna watch Ted Lasso. Okay, so we'll see. I'm trying, y'all. I'm like, look, I will give you my Apple TV login. Just watch the shit. I'm trying. I think he would love it. Anyway, she says, I don't care what other people have said. I love this season as much, if not more, than season 1. Did people not like season 2?
I don't know. I thought season 2 was really good.
I'm so glad I didn't see that discourse. The showrunners took chances and gave us development and evolution that if you were paying attention, you would have seen the seeds being sown in season 1. Listen, I said from season fucking 1 that Nate was a school shooter. I remember distinctly saying that watching the show in that hotel room, and like, I remember... I don't remember.
He did something with towels or something. Like he was kicking.
He did something in season 1 that I remember being like, oh, I didn't like that. And I remember putting that in, I was like live commenting as I was watching. And I remember putting that in the thread. And our friend Leslie liked my comment or something and said something. And my impression was that I was like, right. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was like, yeah, he's going to be a problem. I feel like the very first thing he did that like was like a red flag for me was super early in season 1. So I'm curious though, like what the complaints were and like, what development and evolution did people miss because they didn't, pick up on things. Anyway, they could have taken the easy way out and stuck to what worked and given us a second season of rinse and repeat storytelling, but they clearly have bigger things in mind. How was season 2 so different from season 1? Because I binged 1 a year ago and then rewatched 2 and finished it last week. I don't remember, so it's not like clear, fresh in my head how they would have been different.
I feel like season 2 was bigger. Like they focused more on different characters. Because season 1 was the beginning, and you really only focused on Ted. You focused on Jamie and Roy's their battle with each other. They didn't really focus on the other characters as much they did in the second season, and they added some new characters. But you would have like the beard episode, so it's the whole episode was nothing but the beard stuff. You had the sticky breath episode. That felt like that was
the Christmas episode,
right? So that basically
there was a lot in that episode.
Yeah, there was a lot, but I feel like they focused a lot more
on other people.
Right. They gave people more storyline.
Okay. Well,
so it made it, to me, that season 2 felt much bigger than season 1.
Okay. And I guess if that's true, people didn't like that. Okay. She goes on to say, my hatred for the characters played by Anthony Stewart Head post Buffy continues, but man, does that guy play a good asshole character. Every time he plays a role where he is the absolute worst, a little part of me pleads, not my Giles. What else has he been bad in? I'm drawing a blank. I know I've seen him in other stuff after Buffy, but I'm drawing a blank on what those roles are. I love Roy and Keeley, and I want them to be together, but the show has done a good job of setting the stage for a couple who loves each other, but who are at different phases of their lives, which keeps them from finding their happily ever after with one another. So while I don't want the show to go there, I am prepared to accept it. Okay, so what I think I want to do is start talking about that premiere episode as we go through some of this feedback. So let's talk about it. They broke up. And
that was so weird.
Yeah, it was.
Because it was just like... that's not how season 2 ended. Like,
Right.
it ended like he thought they were going to break up. He's like, oh, I got to go on this trip by myself.
Right.
But she's like, no, just go take some time for yourself.
Right.
Like, go
Right.
to work.
Right.
But then they just, like, this episode's like, hey, we broke up. Well, they go, okay.
And it's weird because the show, to me, feels like the message of the show is, like, healthy living, right? Like, healthy relationships and,
Right.
like, how to communicate effectively, how to disagree respectfully, and all that. And so for them to, like, have them do all of the right things and still break up is weird. It's like,
Yes.
and it makes me wonder if that's the lesson, though, if, like, this is just the two of them being afraid and this isn't going to last long. Because, like, the little girl, I forget her name, she was like, Phoebe, she was like, y'all are stupid. I think you're being stupid. And they seem like when they were talking to Phoebe and he starts talking about how he's taking on more coaching responsibility. And then Keely interrupts and she's like, yeah, and I know you're worried about that, but you're going to do fine. And he kind of looked at her. It was kind of like she was still caring for him and treating him like when they were together. And I don't see like, it feels like they're hinting at that this isn't permanent.
Right.
And maybe that's the lesson, is that they're going to see that they were wrong in breaking up because they were afraid.
Right. Because the excuse they have here is that they're both too busy for each other.
Right, right.
So now if they both go out and they get, either one of them gets in a relationship with somebody else, then I call bullshit, because it's like, okay, now why do you have time for this person, but you don't have time for this person?
Yeah.
Then I'm
unless curious to see single, where that goes. Yeah.
Right.
I love where this is back to Kim. I love where they took Nate. For me, it makes perfect sense for him to have been revealed to be a shit person. Same. I have seen firsthand the people who were often the playthings for the mean people of this world, who turn into those very people because they want the power people like that have. The world shat upon them and they take full advantage of their opportunity to become the shitter. This character just proves the saying, hurt people hurt people. Yup. I hope we get to see more of Dr. Sharon and Ted Krim, now independent of the independent. Okay, so let's talk about Sharon. Ted talked to her in this episode over the phone because she is now working with another team, but she can't say.
Right.
Like, she can't say where, she can't say what the team is, who the team is, though she did say that she had like 8 Australians on the team. And he calls her because he's dealing with the fact that he had his son for like 6 weeks, I guess the summer, and he flew back home.
Right. He just had to let him go.
Yeah. And so through that, we know that, she's working with another team, but they're still working together in a professional capacity, right? Because she's like, time's almost up, Right. And then but they're also still, I knew he was going to do that. Shut up. But that that they have like a personal relationship, because he is like, can I still ask you personal questions? And she's like, okay, fine. Hold on a second, you guys. I need to take a picture of this thing on the TV because it looks like an elephant. Okay, I'll show y'all later. Sorry. So my TV screensaver, it goes to like these Google images that people, I guess, take and submit. And so it's just always like really, I love them. Different landscapes, murals from around the world, that type of stuff. And this is looks like an aerial land shot, some mountains maybe, I don't know, but I see an elephant face in there, and I got distracted. So anyway, Sharon is apparently, it's not one of the players, right?
Unless it's one of the Australian players. But like, 'cause he asked her, "Are you seeing anyone?" And
oh, that's right.
She's like, "I don't want to talk about that," or something like that. And he goes, "Well, you usually say no, so that means you are seeing somebody."
Right. And Ted Krim of The Independent, so he has been replaced with this black guy. Yeah. We haven't seen him yet, although I thought is he going to write a book or something? I could see the character coming back because he wrote a book.
Right. I mean, I think he'll be back.
Yeah.
But the way he ended it, like, he's independent now. He's an independent.
Yeah, that's right. And he because he took issue with the way they wanted to run the story about Ted's mental health.
Right.
And then that's how we learned that Nate was
right.
The source. Yeah.
Right. He had basically told his boss, I told somebody who the source was, and yet he got fired.
Okay. So I'm going to read the last feedback. It's from Nikki, and it's pretty long, but it's going to help us do what I want to do, which is use this to talk about season 3 so far. Hi, I love this show. I love this season. My prediction is that I will also love next season. I'm curious. Do you so far? Yeah, we've only watched episode 1, even though episode 2 is available. We're going to be doing this show 2 at a time because it's so short. The episodes are so short, right? They're not an hour, are they? If they're an hour, we'll do 1 at a time, but I feel like they're not an hour.
They're 47 minutes, 45 minutes. Okay,
so we maybe won't be doing that.
And normal network.
Yeah, okay, my bad. So we'll see. But anyway, let's just start off with the elephant in the room. Oh my God, elephants! You see that? Incidentally, elephants are the opposite of goldfish when it comes to memory. Yeah, that's right. The whole goldfish, like, let it go, right? Like, you don't remember it. It's just, okay. Nate. I love this character development for him. I mean, I hate it. Don't get me wrong. He's a royal jerkster, but it's all been there right in front of us for 2 seasons now. Better writers than me have pointed out the details, and I agree with them. He's an incel. Notice how in season 2, when he wanted that table at the restaurant, and then he finally kind of like bossed his way and was like, what you're going to do is give me the table. Blah. And he was like, and how about you give me your number? And I was like, ugh, he's so fucking gross. Anyway, he's an incel. He's been an incel. And until he sees some serious consequences to his actions, like working for a rich, egomaniacal sociopath, and or realizing that his belittling, hard-ass, and mean coaching style won't produce a winning football club, he's going to continue to be an incel. There are a lot of folks with daddy issues in this show, and Nate is no exception. He perceives every slight to his ego as a blow from his father, and then acts accordingly. The way he runs to social media to see what is being said about him, the way he still to this day in this season 3 premiere was like, I'm pretty sure I said Wonderkin. Like, shut up!
Yes.
He doesn't he's so, like, I'll be so surprised if they're able to redeem the character enough for me, because stuff like spitting on the floor, like, that just, what is that? That's just like a violent, nasty, just...
Yeah, he was doing it in season 2.
Like, what is that?
I don't know.
Ugh, I hate him. And he got a car in this episode. I like the secretary, the assistant, whatever. When he was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to like open this now or wait till you leave. But she goes, it's a car. Why is she like that?
Everybody that on that team is just assholes.
Yeah, I can't wait to see them go down. Anyway, she says, that's not to say I'm excusing his behavior. With all the time Dr. Sharon spent there, he had ample opportunity to sit with her and explore his own emotionally absent father, but he didn't. That's true. I forgot about that. And he treated every person he deemed inferior, including women in positions of power and men in positions of presumed subservience, like absolute crap. I'll be very curious to see how they try to redeem this character, or if they do. And Ted and Beard saw it coming. I think Beard in particular did.
Yeah, Beard's really fucking smart.
Because I think he's the only one who... Didn't he, like, force Nate to go apologize to someone? one time. Like, I thought Nate, that towel boy.
He might have.
Or do they call them kits? I think they're called kits. Anyway. And Ted and Beard saw it coming. I know that Ted is on this in your own time thing, but there are times when you step in to protect others. And as much as I love his character, that is one of his faults. He never did. He didn't correct that behavior. Okay, so let's talk about what he does in this episode. When he takes the team down into the sewers for a little Ted Lasso moment, learning moment, right? Someone takes a photo of them going down in the sewers, puts it on social media. People are making fun of them because all the pundits have predicted that they're going to come in last this season. And this just adds to it. And it is presented to Nate during a press conference that Rebecca is watching. And Nate takes this opportunity to say mean things about Ted and to get a few chuckles. When it's Ted's turn to do a press conference and he's asked about the things that Nate said, he had promised. No, he didn't promise because he never said anything. But Rebecca was upset and was like, look.
Wanted him to fight back.
Yeah, my ex is Rupert is laughing at me. So please fight back. Like, I need you to, like, I get what you're doing and you're going to do what you got to do. But I really hope that, basically that he's taking it seriously. Because she doesn't want to be laughed at. And so you're like, is he going to, like, what, and if he did, like, what would that even look like? Like, because I couldn't even imagine, like,
him getting angry.
Right, and being nasty, and I was like, that's just not him. Like, I couldn't even imagine, like, what that would look like. And, but no, he remains himself, and to the point where he starts joking with the press corps. He starts joking with the press corps, and he's the butt of all the jokes.
Right. And
it's a hit. People are talking about it on social media and loving it, and that just makes Nate more angry.
Yep. Kill him with kindness.
Yeah. And
because he did nothing, like everything about Nate, when they asked him about Nate, he had nothing but compliments to say about him.
Yes. And they weren't lies,
no.
Right? Like, he was like that. He was good at his job.
Right.
In terms of, like, calling the plays and all that strategy. He was terrible coaching people, though.
Right.
Yeah.
As we see in this episode.
Right. But Ted doesn't say that, right?
No.
And Nate sees Roy and Jamie to some extent, and definitely Rupert, being rewarded for being salty bad boy. Oh my God. He sees them being rewarded for being salty bad boys. Roy talks trash and trends on Twitter. Jamie was a jerk to everyone, and he's back on the team. Rupert is the dredge of humanity, and he owns his own football club and is marrying a beautiful young woman. He's like, when is it my turn? I did not cheer when Nate got that window table. Neither did I. The spitting, the whistle, the snapping, it all felt wrong, due in large part to the shaky handheld camera in the restroom. I knew the kiss with Keeley was eventual because that's what these guys do, right? Think that kindness from a woman equals entitlement to our bodies. I don't know how they redeem him. I don't know how. Remember when Nate's confession was that plays that he made look like they were thought up on the spur of the moment were actually planned out in advance? I don't remember that. It's the same in his life. Everything that he has said critical of anyone on the show has been played as a speech in his head for a while. Yes, that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. We've known people like this, unfortunately.
Right.
Yes.
It's kind of like when he first goes to Rupert and Rupert says something. He goes about Ted's team being in last or being 20th place, and then his remark is, or he asks him why, and he goes, well, because there's not 21.
Right.
And,
that's right.
And Rupert liked that, so then he's like, okay, I'm going to use that in a press conference.
Yes. Yep. The quickness with which he fires off insults and the specificity of those insults is premeditated. Nate's the kind of guy who would call someone a slur and then insist that he would never use that kind of language, but he's had it on the tip of his tongue. I feel like we're going to see how his character plays out a lot next season, but as much as I want to see redemption, I also kind of don't. Sometimes there's just no getting through to them. And all that said, Nick Mohammed's acting in that last scene with Jason how do you say his name? Sudeikis?
Yeah,
Sudeikis was wonderful. He hit every beat of enraged and hurt and relieved and scared and scary and F it. I'm just going to say it. Okay, moving on. Roy and Keely. I will forever hear it in my head as Jamie says, Keely. I don't know how to say it. Like, I do a shit British accent. This is regular relationship stuff, yeah? By that, I mean, don't a lot of folks have these issues come up? Insecurity, midlife crisis, power dynamics with jobs, finances, respecting time and space, etc. I like that they're showing us all of this, but I don't particularly worry about them. Wonder if you still feel the same. They've shown over and over that they are grown-ups capable of accountability and forgiveness and empathy. I hope I'm not wrong. Yeah, that's why this feels like just a hiccup. Like, I feel like that's the wrong message to send, that this couple, like everything you just said, they could get through all of that. And then it's like, oh, we're too busy. Anyway, speaking of Keely, I wish I could trade the beard-centric episode for an episode with Keely and Rebecca working together. Okay, let's talk about this. I'm so glad I saved this one. It was the last feedback, so I was always going to read it last. But again, it just helps bring up stuff to talk about from the premiere. I agree. Like, the beard episode, I mean, it was okay. It was okay. But, yeah, I mean, if you give me options and one of them is Rebecca and Keely, I would take that. I love this relationship. I love this. Yeah. I'm going to kill this dog. I love this friendship. Like, it's so, again, unexpected, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there aren't very many women on the show. And to have the two that are be friends and not at each other's throats, to have, you know, and Keely was not, you know, poor, right? No, when we met the character.
Right. When we met her in season 1, she was a model.
Right.
But she did a lot of nude modeling. And that's it's seeing her evolution from there to where she's at.
Right.
And 3.
Like, and that's the thing, like, you wouldn't expect someone of Rebecca's, like, class and status to be so friendly with someone, it's Keely, who they put from, like, their accents, like, you can just tell, right, like, where they're from. Mm-hmm. It's just, they're so vastly different, and to have them be friendly, but like, best friends, and love each other, and just have such a really good relationship, love it. Love it, love it. So we see Keely's new PR firm. It's so weird because I don't know what we're supposed to think of this. Like, I hope they're not setting her up for failure. Or is it just, that's just what her space is going to be. Like, she has like an office that's like the office. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not the same work environment like at the football club.
Right. And I think something's going to happen where she's going to be unhappy. Because what we see in this, we're going walking through there, and from what I'm gathering is everybody that's employed there was put there because of the people that
the investor or whatever. Okay,
right. So she has no say in who works there, because every one of them just seemed like they were
very
unhappy,
corporate. Yeah,
very corporate.
Yeah.
And she was just trying to be relaxed, just like, hey, this is how I used to be. It's
right.
Like how it was over here, and they're just, no, we got to follow the laws. We got to follow.
Well, I feel like, I hope what happens instead is that she ends up being able to either work with the people that she wants to work with, or she gets those people to lighten up and kind of cultivate the kind of environment that she wants to lead, rather than her losing this somehow, if that makes sense. Yeah.
She is the Ted in this
yeah
coming over here to a brand new soccer team.
Yes,
she's got to do the same thing with her team. She's got to turn it around and give them their trust and all that.
And by the way, the name of the season 3 premiere is Smells Like Mean Spirit. Okay, so back to the feedback. Where are we? So she was saying instead of a beard, this is still Nikki, by the way, instead of the beard-centric episode, she would rather have one with Keely and Rebecca working together, using their intelligence and skills to figure out the financial issue when Dubai Air bailed as a sponsor and they needed to secure banter. Perfect. She even gave us the plot of the episode. Imagine what a cool passing the Bechdel test episode that would have been, to see women working together to solve a very real, very central to the plot issue. Jeremy Swift is so underrated in this show. He is consistently wonderful, neutral character in a show with a lot of big personalities, and that's not easy to do. He shines in each scene he's in with subtle little touches that hit the mark every time. And I feel like the Christmas episode was just as much an homage to him as it was to his character's popularity with the team. Listen.
Yeah, he's really good.
He's very, very good. And you're right. It is his personality is smaller than the rest, but he doesn't get like overshadowed at all. He can, you know what I mean? Like, he can be in a room with a Roy and a Ted and a Rebecca and be as funny. And doesn't kind of get lost, you know? When he asked, was it Sam in that Christmas episode? He was like, back home, what do you usually think of when you think of Christmas or something? Or he goes, colonization. He was like, oh, right. Okay, sorry. That tickled me. Anyway. Calling each actor's true hometowns in that speech was a lovely touch. Oh, yeah, I remember that. That's right. Dr. Sharon, what a wonderfully stoic foil to Ted's enthusiastic optimism. Listen, when he was like, what's up, Doc? And she was like, Doctor. Like, she was not fucking around with Ted in the beginning. And he didn't know how to respond to that, you know?
But yeah.
Because that shit did not work on her. Anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed the slow burn in which their relationship developed, each episode bringing them a little closer to where they were destined to go. Also, she just rocks. Emotional moments. Genius. They hit us with the left jab with Jamie, his dad, and then Roy. Freaking incredible acting on Phil Dunster's part. Listen.
I forgot all about Jamie's dad.
That shit, when he walks over and he just hugs him, oh, that was so good. That was so good. I never understood the term turned on the waterworks until then. And then like half the freaking second later, with no freaking warning, damn you, Sudeikis, they hit us with a powerful right hook with Ted's revelation. Yeah, about that. Okay, listen. I distinctly remember, because again, I just rewatched these episodes to finally finish the second season. Prior to that, I had only seen and really paid attention to up until the beard episode. And then as it turns out, when we watched the ones after that, I was like, oh, I remember this, like when her dad died. Yeah. So I was like, I knew this stuff. I might have put it on like as background noise or something and didn't really pay attention. But anyway, I was rewatching it, and I think it was that episode when I was like, the perfect example of how this show can have me like cracking up and bawling in the same episode, because that was when they went to play at Wembley and Ted was trying to give that speech about how historic it was and all this stuff, and he was like, when y'all were young,
he was saying all this stuff wrong.
Yeah, he's like, when y'all were young, y'all probably dreamed of playing here. And they're like, no, we didn't. They're like, this is the new Wembley, the old one was over here and it tore down and da-da-da. And like everything he kept saying to talk about like how historic it was, they were like countering it. And he's like, fine, we'll play in the Wembley that Freddie Mercury never stepped foot in. I don't know why. That just cracked me up. And then a few scenes later, that happened with the dad. And I was sitting there crying because Roy hugged him. Anyway, the way I bawled like my dog just died. The rom-com episode was brilliant. What was the Sam and Rebecca stuff. Rebecca and Sam, I'm so conflicted. On the one hand, I adore them both and want them to be happy, and I love seeing them together. On the other hand, bad power dynamics there that I'd likely poo-poo if the genders were flipped. Yeah. Back to the one hand, they're both adults. Back to the other hand, I would care more if I'd seen more of them together than just the 1.5 episodes or so. Speaking of Sam, I do love how they handled the Cerinthium Oil Dubai Air press conference, with Ted acknowledging his privilege and stepping aside so Sam could be centered. Yes, they do a lot of this very subtly, which I appreciate. I not only like how they handle big issues, but also small ones, like embarrassing things all humans do, like accidentally pooping their pants when they eat too much ice cream. No, wait, you gotta say it right. So this is from the Christmas episode when Phoebe had bad breath.
Mm-hmm.
And she breathed in his face, and he was like, I think you might be dying. So then they go door to door looking for a dentist. And they went to the first house, and she got upset. She was like, this is embarrassing. And he goes, this isn't embarrassing. Embarrassing is shitting your pants on the bus because you ate too much ice cream at a birthday party knowing that you're lactose intolerant. And then Keely goes, finish the story. And he goes, 2 weeks ago. Oh my god, it was so funny. Anyway, or having bad breath due to a medical condition. This is too freaking long. Sorry. No, it was perfect. Anyway, love the show. Love all of y'all and can't wait for season 3. And then she came back to say, sorry, one more thing. Big kudos to the sound, music / whomever. They foreshadowed Nate at each and every turn. The Rolling Stones returned to Richmond to avoid The Rolling Stones returned to Richmond of Roy Kent, the perfect and most obvious example. Also, one more thing. Nate's suits went from gray to black while his hair went from black to gray. Interesting. Look at you. You're like a Ted Lasso scholar. So I think that's it. I think we pretty much covered everything. I need to do my Googles and see if this is indeed the last season. Because if it is, like, I would totally be fine with a sappy, they end up winning it all, starting the season with everybody thinking they would not place, they'd come in last.
I guess, that's the only, I can see that. If it's not the last season, then their main goal this season is to beat Rupert's team. Like that, they don't care what place you're in. You just need to be a higher place than their team.
Yeah,
that kind of seems like what they set up.
Yeah, that would be fine too. That would be fine too. All right, well, that is it. We'll see if we're gonna do 2 or 1 at a time. I guess it really just depends on the content of the episode. But if you want us to read your feedback like I just did on the podcast, make sure you send it to feedback@projectfandom.com and put that show title and episode number or name in the subject so I can easily find it and read it on the right podcast. As always, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for subscribing, and we'll talk to you next time.